Are there any additions to the agenda? I have one in camera for labor. And is there any other additions?
I have one in correspondence.
In correspondence? It's part of correspondence?
Yeah.
When that comes apart? When we do the correspondence? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Motion to accept amended agenda. Tom, all in favor? Carried. And with that, I would like a motion to recess council so we can open up the public hearing. So moved. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Ben moved. And with that, I'll open the public hearing for bylaw 2018-13. Good morning. Good morning, Robin. That's not on yet. There you go.
Good morning.
Okay, has proper notifications been done?
Yes, through the chair, all the notifications have been circulated, and we have not had any objections to the proposed road closure.
Okay. Do you have any problems with anybody listening to this public hearing? You're the only one in the audience. Okay, we can continue when you're ready.
The purpose of this public bylaw is for a road closure. First reading of bylaw 2018-13 was held on May 13, 2018. The process requires a public hearing, which is being held now. After the public hearing is closed, the bylaw and all associated documentation will be sent to the minister's office for approval, after which it'll be returned to be followed by second and third reading at a future meeting of council. This map shows us the general area of the proposed road closure. Again, zooming in a little bit closer, we're out in 2418. An aerial map showing that this is the area proposed, containing the proposed closure. And zooming in a little closer so we can see the topography and structures that are within the area. The area outlined in red, the areas, this is an original road allowance, and this was a diversion plan. After closure is complete, providing it is successful, the areas will be transferred to and consolidated with the adjacent quarter sections, and the new property line will be the dotted yellow line. And this is a copy of the survey plan of the areas, and then the actual bylaw itself that effects the closure. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Public have any questions? Concerns? Nothing else, Robin?
No, through the chair, that is all I have.
Okay. No questions? If not, I'm going to close the public hearing for bylaw 2018-13. And we're now back in council.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the process now is that it's sent off to municipal affairs.
The process now is that the bylaw and all associated documentation and communications between myself and the utilities advising whether or not they need easements is sent to Alberta Transportation in Calgary for their review before they submit it actually to the minister's office, where then it is received and processed in the order in which it's been received, and then returned to us after that has been completed and hopefully approved.
Okay.
So question through the chair, what the turnaround timeline on these is usually what?
Anywhere from 3 to 18 months.
2 to 18 months. Let's hope it's 2 months.
Okay, we'll do first readings for request for decision bylaw 2017-60. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Good morning. So this is a redesignation application to redesignate 2 acres from agricultural general district to public utility district within parcel B, block 3, plan 6349AV. It's adjacent to Range Road 230 and roughly 40 meters north of Highway 564 and approximately 6 kilometers southeast of the village of Rockyford. Due to Wheatland County, so this is similar to the previous truck fill application that went forward. Due to our partnership agreement as part of Wheatland Regional Corporation, we're not providing a recommendation for council's consideration. We are providing the 3 options. The first reading be granted and a public hearing would be scheduled for August 14th at 9 a.m. Or option 2 for council's consideration, that the bylaw be refused or that council approve an alternate recommendation. The purpose of the redesignation is to accommodate a future water truck fill and pressure reducing station off of the regional water line. If approved by council, the redesignation would be followed by a subsequent subdivision application and development permit. Following subdivision, the intent is for the sale of the acreage to Wheatland Regional Corporation on behalf of the village of Rockyford and or Wheatland Regional Corporation as per the submitted letter of intent. Go to the maps here before I go through the report. Here's the location plan of the proposed redesignation area. This is an area plan, a rectangular 2-acre parcel, and the bylaw map. And then this will be the circulation that'll be done for public hearing to everyone within a mile of the subject lands. We reviewed it against the South Saskatchewan Regional Plan and found general alignment with the policies in terms of the environment and supporting regional servicing with shared economic benefits for multiple municipalities. I don't know, oh, there we go. Okay. We also found alignment with the Wheatland Regional Growth Management strategy, which is designed to guide growth in the county over the long-term future. From a regional growth management perspective, the application does provide a certain level of alignment with the RGMS, as the eventual uses on the proposed area for redesignation would facilitate intermunicipal cooperation and benefits to the area, which the RGMS has a strong focus on supporting. In terms of the MDP, yes, it does fragment agricultural land, but staff's of the opinion that the benefits of this proposed redesignation outweigh the 2 acres that would be redesignated to public utility district. And from an adjacent use perspective, staff finds this location suitable in terms of its access to transportation corridors and the fact it's not in close proximity to country residential development. The buffering is not as significant a factor as the other application, where close proximity to residential dwellings could cause potential issues and were noted as a concern previously. In terms of the land use bylaw, the proposed amendment aligns with the rules and regulations of the land use bylaw, and all future development would be required to align with the setback requirements, approval processes, application submission requirements, and other rules and regulations as per this document. This was circulated to external agencies. AHS had 3 comments. One that was just a bit different than their typical comments is recommending that backflow prevention devices be implemented at the truck fill station in order to protect the Wheatland Regional Corp pipeline, so that would be passed along to the developer. ATCO Gas noted no objections, as well as TELUS and the WID, and there was no concerns internally. And these are the options for council's consideration, and noted Wheatland's recommendation. We're not providing a recommendation on this application. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? On?
Yeah, we go back to where that location is. Why don't we, should that piece of property not be like 2.5 acres, 2 1/3 acres? Because we've got a dead spot in that area that is going to be nothing but a weed hazard because there's nothing you're going to be able to do in there. So if they were to move that, you have to have your offset for your road allowance, I would assume, or your road access. So should that not piece be right down to 564? And then they can do whatever they want to do with it, but at least it'll be all under one piece. You're not trying to, you don't have this weed hazard in the corner there because you're not going to be able to farm that.
Through the chair, we did have those comments come up internally in terms of the shape and the positioning, and those were sent back to the applicant, and they noted they wanted to stay with their original application of this rectangle. So we can't, staff has to be really careful we don't play the role of their consultant and try to shift them to something else. So I do see your concerns, and we did send that to them, but they said they wanted to stick with this as it is. It'll still be, I think they're seeing it in terms of use, because once you put in Alberta transportation setback from the highway, I guess they can't use it, and maybe they didn't want to buy as much land, but I can't really speculate on their rationale for that size.
Through the chair, as council, can we force them to move that? Because it's going to be a problem down the road.
Angie?
Through the chair, you can table first reading and ask administration to take it back to the applicant and ask the applicant to relook at the site design and how they're going to mitigate the issue, or with the landowner who would still own that portion. Absolutely, you can do that.
Or we could do first reading and ask them at the public hearing, and we could amend it.
I'd be a little bit nervous about that, Mr. Chairman, because when we go to the public hearing, I like to take actually what's going to happen to the public hearing, because we don't want to confuse the public with saying that this is what we talked about at first reading, but we haven't asked anyone to change anything. So you can table it at first reading, ask the applicant if they would wish to change it or come up with some method to ensure that the no weeds, et cetera, are there, and then ask them to explain that at public hearing, rather than just moving straight to public hearing without giving the applicant an opportunity to do some background research and homework on that.
So through the chair for the process, by not, I don't know if I would call it tabling the first reading, but by going back to the applicant and the landowner and getting that information, we can still hold a public hearing on the 14th of August and then have the first reading after the public hearing. So we don't slow the process down, but we at least have the information we need, and the applicant and the landowner are both aware of what we're looking for. Because I do agree with where Tom's coming from. It would create an issue in that corner as far as what the landowner can do with it.
Through the chair, another option we can do then, just to give the applicant a little bit more time, is to say to them, is the public hearing going to be too quick for you in order for you to be able to think this through? And we can shift the public hearing until the first council meeting in September, which I think is September the 4th, and do the public hearing then, if that's preferable, and still approve first reading now, today, and then that gives them a bit more time to come up with some options, et cetera, for public hearing, and then that can be displayed so that the public know what is actually going to be presented at public hearing.
I don't know if they need that much more time to, if they can't do it by August 14th, I'm sure they would let us know, but I don't think it's going to be that onerous of them to move it or come up with a reason why they can't move it, is what I'm thinking.
Through the chair, if that's your question, why can't they move it or buy a larger piece of land? Absolutely, we can have that conversation with them, and they can talk to yourselves and the public in the public hearing. If you feel that that's not addressed then in the public hearing, then we can ask them to come back at second reading with some further information.
Yeah, I would prefer to see it.
Yeah, so through the chair, I would, if we had to move first reading today, I would vote against it because I don't agree with what they're proposing. But if we hold it off until the public hearing to get the information as to why from both landowner and applicant, then go to the first reading and I've got the information I need. But if we do it today, then I'd be voting in opposition to first reading.
So we just need a motion for a public hearing, is what I'm thinking. Someone want to make that?
I'll move that we hold the public hearing for this application prior to moving first reading.
Okay, and to qualify that, staff will get in touch with them and
Yep.
tell them our concerns.
For further information, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, bylaw 2000, first reading for bylaw 2018-01.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll be presenting three RFDs today. I've spoken with council previously with regards to the land use bylaw amendments for the Municipal Government Act, the municipal development plan to align with the new Municipal Government Act, and also the Calgary Metropolitan Regional Board. Trying to get that straight in my brain. And also the new SDAB bylaw. So this is bylaw number 2018-01 for first reading. And it's the recommendation that council choose option 1 to grant first reading of bylaw 2018-01 to amend the municipal development plan. And there's quite a few sections that we're amending to align with the Calgary Metropolitan Regional Board. So option number 1 is that bylaw 2018-01 be given first reading, and motion number 2 that the public hearing be scheduled for August 14th. Just going to go down to the report. So I'm going to skip down to the actual, this is what map we have produced, which shows the Calgary Metropolitan Regional Board plan area within Wheatland County. We're looking at updating the planning hierarchy in our municipal development plan, and you'll see we've broken it up a little bit. We have the provincial hierarchy along with our municipal hierarchy, which is, of course, showing the CMRB, the municipal development plan, our RGMS, which is great that we have all those things in place. Also, we have to take into consideration our area concept plans, our area structure plans, our area redevelopment plans, and of course, we're going to have all those IDPs as well, the land use bylaw, etc. So on page 3, this is a really bad page. So what we're adding here is the provision of conservation reserve. Thank you. I'll explain that a little later. It's throughout this document. And then on page 5, under the red portion, the MDP is binding on the subdivision authority and binding on the subdivision and development appeal boards in development appeals. We've also updated the South Saskatchewan regional plan. At the time that the municipal development plan was being made, the South Saskatchewan plan hadn't quite been finalized, so we've just updated that portion. Right here on page 6, this is where we're introducing the CMRP and the servicing plan as well. So we've included a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm guessing once the actual plan comes into effect, we may have to change some of this slightly because we don't know exactly what the servicing is going to look like in particular. So we've added another map to show where Wheatland County is in regards to the whole area plan. The map that I talked about, also the objectives of the CMRP. No, the CMRP, yes. Sorry about that. And then this is where the conservation reserve has been included under our definitions. And I think that's it. And that's everything I have.
Thank you. Any questions? Council's wishes. Amber?
I'll move that first reading of bylaw 2018-01 be given.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. And public hearing day?
I'll move that a public hearing date be scheduled for August 14th, 2018 to commence at 9 a.m. in the Wheatland County Council chambers.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And request for decision, bylaw 2018-06.
So bylaw number 2018-06 is to amend the land use bylaw to align with the updated Municipal Government Act. And it's staff's recommendation that council choose option 1 and grant first reading for bylaw 2018-06 to amend the land use bylaw as per the revised Municipal Government Act. Motion 1 is that that bylaw 2018 be given first reading and that council set a public hearing for the bylaw for August 14th. I have gone through this particular amendment with council. I'm just going to refresh your memory quickly. The majority of the things within this bylaw amendment are to align with the new Municipal Government Act. Sections 3.2, which that allow the Development Authority to deem applications complete or incomplete before they come to the Municipal Planning Commission, which also gives the Development Officer the authority to complete or incomplete an application. Under Section 4, under the application for development, we've also added a section for subdivision, which we didn't have before. And we've identified 11 items that had come out of the Municipal Government Act that show how we go about deeming an application complete or incomplete. A couple of revisions on wording for a complete application. And then also including our notice of decision. It has changed from 14 days to 21 days for people to appeal a decision. And then we have some requirements for a complete application. We didn't have that in our land use bylaw previously. So we felt to be completely transparent as to what is required on an application. We've included those requirements, such as what would be identified on a site plan and digital copies, things like that. We've also included other things that might be required from an application, which may be certain studies such as stormwater stability reports. And we've done the same with subdivision applications. We've taken that right out of the Municipal Government Act and put it into the land use bylaw. We've also changed the appeal section to align with the Municipal Government Act. And then also under Section 9.5, which is our Industrial General District, even though we do have this in our land use bylaw, our legal counsel felt just to be more clear on our medical marijuana production facilities, we would like to include under the discretionary use that it's only considered within the WASP area. And this is also identified in the regulation of our land use bylaw, but we thought we should put it under the district and also in the definition, which I have right up here, sorry. Under medical marijuana facility, we're keeping the definition the same, just adding that it's only considered within the WASP area. And that's everything, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Council's wishes. Amber?
Just one little clerical note on page 43 of our package under 3.32. I think we should take "or not" out where it says determine whether or not a development permit application is complete or incomplete. It's kind of redundant.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Amber.
On page 40, sorry, on page 43 under 3.32, I think it should, it's my opinion, it should read determine whether a development permit application is complete or incomplete. Take the "or not" out because it's kind of unclear.
4.32?
3.3.2
Oh, 3.3.
under development officer.
Determine whether or not a development permit application is complete or incomplete. You don't like that sentence? No, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Council's wishes. Donna?
So I have a question on, like it said, a professional prepared digital computer generated subdivision with dimensions, structures, location of the sewage, like, is this going into where they're saying they're going to have to do with the study and find out where the sewer is supposed to go, where the well is, like, are they, when they were talking about that?
Through the chair. So this, we just want to see on the tentative plan when someone comes in for subdivision where their septic field is and where their well is, just to make sure that it meets setbacks. We do that already. We're just further clarifying it in the land use bylaw. The work that we had at the last meeting, we're still working on those policies, and those will be totally separate than this, a separate amendment, and council will make the decision at that time if you want to see studies of subdivision or not, or whatever way you choose to go, but this doesn't set the stage for that at all. You still have full authority on that down the road.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to clarify what Councillor Link was talking about. Under section 3.3.2, this particular section of the land use bylaw is one of the requirements or descriptions of what a development officer does when an application comes in. And C, which is determine whether or not a development permit application is complete, is only one of quite a number of things that a development officer looks at with regards to an application. So if we take that out, I'm not quite sure how we're going to determine, or who's going to determine if an application is complete or not,
I think she just wanted to take or not complete.
or not.
What's in the red?
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry about that. I misunderstood.
We're just trying to make your workload a little lighter.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Council's wishes. Tom?
I'll move that council give first reading to bylaw 2018-06.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, Donna?
I move that the council set a public hearing date for bylaw 2018-06 for August 14th, 2018.
Okay, any questions? All in favor? Carried. Request for decision bylaw 2018-08.
Mr. Chairman, if I may hand some paperwork out
Sure
before I
can.
present, thank you. So what Colt is handing out for me today is some of the work that our department has been doing with regards to a new brochure and also a procedures guideline that I've spoken with council previously about. The brochure is in the middle of being printed right now. This is just on regular paper. It will have some nice fancy paper. And then the guidelines or procedures booklet that I've put together is just in draft form right now, but you may want to have a look at what our branding is looking like and some of the information that we're going to be displaying in the foyer and put on the website for people to view. So that's just an example of what we're working on right now. It's not part of this bylaw, but I thought you'd like to see those. So today we have bylaw 2018-08, which is a new subdivision and development appeal board bylaw. And this is for the new regulations of the Municipal Government Act. It's the recommendation that council choose option 1 to approve the new subdivision and development appeal board bylaw and rescind the existing subdivision and development appeal bylaw 2016-03. Option 1 is that council give first reading of bylaw 2018-08, that council give second reading of bylaw 2018-08, and third and final reading of bylaw 2018-08. Basically, the only thing that's really changed within this bylaw is some of the wording with regards to the SDAB secretary and the clerk. We now call them clerks, and they also have to be a designated officer appointed by council. And the SDAB must be trained along with the clerk by July, is it July 2019? Yeah. So we have new definitions with regards to appeals and the clerk, and the board term of office, which is 3 years. And I think it says up to 7 members, so it doesn't have to be 7, it can be 5 and up to 7. How to remove a board member. The acting chairperson and the clerk, how they're to do their voting and what quorum is, function and duties of the board, subdivision and development appeals, the duties of the clerk. This is new within the Municipal Government Act. And then, of course, I think that's everything.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Council's wishes.
I'm I got a question on board member removal. 6A1, in the opinion of council, a member is not performing. And I just, like, opinion of council, I don't know, it seems to be very broad. I mean, I just sort of, I understand that it takes, there can be differences between people sitting on a board and all that kind of stuff. It just, I really would like to really make it tight that if you've got a problem, you deal with the problem and you don't sit down there and go behind it and just see if you can rally behind to get rid of somebody. I understand that there has to be some sort of there probably has to be some sort of a vehicle to, if you've made a mistake and you got the wrong member on there, but I don't know, in the opinion of council, it just seems pretty broad to me. I don't think I know for a fact we won't have a problem with this council, but, I'm just thinking down the road type thing, right? So, I don't know, it's just my rant.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I think if you look at 6B and the language underneath there, that starts to give you some reasoning behind 6A as to why you would possibly think about removing a member. In my experience, most of the times a member is removed from SDAB or MPC is usually through lack of attendance or lack of being available for the board meetings or committee meetings, which causes quorum problems, etc. But we can look further into this if you'd wish. This comes directly from the MGA. Yeah. We could put a policy together with Joanne's help to provide some criteria on that as per Wheatland County, if you'd like to pursue that.
So through the chair, just for clarification, this is the appeal board that we're talking about. So before the council gets this notification that there's an issue, it has to come from the appeal board to council before council can make that, to remove somebody from that position. If they're not acting properly, it has to come from that board to council. Not the council, council can't just arbitrarily say you're off of there. That board makes a presentation to council that this member is not acting because of X, Y, and Z. Then council makes a determination. And I think that's where you're.
Yeah, I'm confused. Okay, no, thank you. Thank you.
Any, Donna?
So after the decision's made, they have 15 days to make that decision, and then it's done in writing. But does the council get, are we informed of that decision?
Sorry? Of an yes. Yeah, you'll probably receive it through Alan, I would imagine. Right, Lisa? Yeah.
Any other questions? Council's wishes. Amber?
I'll move that council give first reading of bylaw 2018-08.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Do you want to do second reading? Donna?
That council gives second reading to bylaw 2018-08.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. And if we want to give third reading, we have to ask for permission.
I'll ask for permission to do third reading.
Okay, any questions about permission? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And want to move third reading?
I'll move that council give third and final reading of bylaw 2018-08.
Any questions? All in favor? All in favor? Sorry, I missed. Carried.
I think this is a good document, and just to further that, I'd like to see one similar to that for public hearings. Good.
Okay, bylaws, second and third readings. Request for decision, bylaw 2017-46. Okay. Okay. So we have a request for decision, page 64. So we had first reading on this, Mike.
Yeah, so through the chair, this road closure is for the boulevard areas located in Speargrass. This has got first reading, gone to the public hearing, gone to the province and had ministerial sign off. Now we're just looking for a second and third reading to finalize the road closure.
Okay. Any questions? Go ahead, Donna. You can move second reading too.
I'd like to move second. Do I have to do one at a time? Can I do both at the same time, second and third readings?
No, just one.
Just one, okay. I'll proceed with second reading for bylaw 2017-46.
Okay, any questions? All in favor? Carried. And third reading?
I'll move that third reading for bylaw 2017-46.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Definitely, yeah. This one was one of the faster ones we've received back from transportation.
Okay. Move down to unfinished business, new business, request for decision, communication tower and lease sites. 3.2A. Any questions?
I just got, when you lease a tower, but a piece of equipment on that tower, are we responsible for the utilities, like the electricity use on that tower? Is that part of the lease? I'm just trying to see if, it's probably insignificant, I don't know, but whether or not that, like, it makes sense to me when the lease is this much money, it makes sense to buy something because the payoff on it is like 12 or 13 years, and then you've still got 40 years of life on it. I'm just wondering just about the amount of power that this is going to take. Is that going to be is it a substantial amount of electricity to run whatever goes on that tower?
So through the chair, we do have a number of these towers throughout the county. I get the electrical bills tied to these, and I don't see significant values tied to those additional structures that are put on that site. This one, because it was co-located, the ones that we have currently here, I believe in the co-location agreement, they cover the power on that. So this would be responsible for the county to cover the power, and then likely the power of any leasees that we take off of this tower. So I guess to answer your question, I don't know exacts on percentages, but it's not significant. No.
Council's wishes.
I'll move we go forward with a recommendation from staff that council approve the purchase and construction of the tower, and that the lease with the owner for communication tower based on the information as presented with the RFD.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. And request for decision, purchase a gravel pit, southeast 3421, 342221, west of the 4th. Any questions?
Yeah, that site has quite a, if I remember correctly, that site has a lot of overburden. Does it not?
Through the chair, we did find more overburden in this site than we were anticipating, but as you can see, we are still looking over 4 million tons of gravel anticipated in the site. So it's still worth us to go after the gravel on this. The payout is still worth the extra cost it will be to, I think it's somewhere around 1.5 meters, 2 meters in spots, which is significant compared to other locations.
So this is for future uses. The one at Clooney, that's not running out yet, is it? I'm thinking of a different.
No, we do have a number of years left in the Clooney. We're looking for this pit that we're purchasing here for future inventory, definitely the 15 to 20 year range before we start opening this one up. Just looking to purchase it early here so we have it.
Any other questions? Council's wishes.
I'll move that we move forward with the approve the allocation of funds from the unpaved road reserve in the amount of $1 million to fund the construction. Oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong one. Gravel pit, there we go. The council approved the purchase of the southeast of 342221 for 3,500 dollars per acre, $3,500 an acre. And 4,253,000 tons of gravel at 88 cents a ton. Funded from to be funded from the 2018 capital budget account. And to approve the mortgage for the gravel permit payments and the lease back of the unused area to the vendor.
Any questions? I think I was going to ask one for the mortgage, the $4 million. I'm thinking they want it paid over 5 years. That part's pretty obvious. Do we have to mortgage it, or is it just you enter into an agreement? It would be cheaper just to have an agreement, but.
It would be, through the chair, this was a request of the landowner to move it through a mortgage document. We did have an agreement where we were just going to pay yearly installments on this. This is a request of the landowner's legal counsel to go through a mortgage. Truthfully, it doesn't make too much sense on our end here, or too much difference on our end, I should say. But their financial accounting here, they requested this method.
Okay. Any other questions? Ben moved. No questions? All in favor? Carried. Oh. Request for decision, Raid Road 2001 construction. Yeah. Kind of jealous, that's for sure.
You bet.
Okay. Page 77. Any questions?
Are we confident that the approvals are going to be in place next year? Yes.
So through the chair, we've requested that this be switched, exchanged with a project in 2019. We are working towards having those approvals. No crystal ball on this one. We're hoping that the approvals are in. They have a better turnaround lately, about 8 months from start to finish with these wetland approvals. So this one, we're just not going to have time to get to 230, and we do have all the approvals in place for 201. So that's the request.
Any questions? Council's wishes?
I move that council approve the allocation of funds from the unpaved road reserve in the amount of $1 million to fund the construction of Range Road 201 from Highway 561 to Township Road 240.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Request for decision, mutual aid agreement with Vulcan County. Were you listening? Okay, page 79. Any questions? Oh, you don't need it?
Oh, look at you go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have an RFD before you requesting approval for a mutual aid agreement with Vulcan County. I'm currently working on all our mutual aid agreements with our partners that haven't had mutual aid agreements before. The really nice thing about this one is they also use Joanne Clower, and it's the exact agreement we have in place with the town of Strathmore that you saw previously. There isn't really any changes to it at all. It looks exactly like the agreement that we have with the town of Strathmore. The exception on this one is, if you could turn to the Schedule A for fees, we're going to help each other because it's the right thing to do. We're not going to charge each other any money unless we have a state of local emergency declared, and it's if we are able to recapture any money. So if we go and help Vulcan in a state of local emergency, if they're able to recapture some of that through any recovery piece, then they will pay us for our time and vice versa. And that is really the only difference, and we'll bill each other at the rate that we use for Alberta transportation.
Thank you. Any questions? Council's wishes.
I'll move we accept the.
Ben's moved. Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, for sure. Request for decision on audited financial statements as of April 30th, 2018. Are there any questions?
Brian, I'm just curious on item number 2, it was 3 million, like, just, how's that WRC loan thing gonna work, like? Is there 10 million outstanding on that, like, I just,
So through the chair, note 2 mentions that the WRC loan currently is a receivable of about 8.5 million. So in the middle of June, maybe 2 weeks ago, we received a payment from them for 2 million. So the loan is coming down, but the loan does not reflect in these unaudited financial statements because these statements are as of April 30th, 2018. So the information I've received from Baja is that it should be repaid by August, in full.
And so inform council, we just okayed by email yesterday, I think, another $2 million payment to be forthcoming shortly, I'm sure. Okay. There was to be a meeting tonight, but it was canceled because of the Hazar. So we ratify it at the next council meeting, but that was part of. Okay. Any other questions?
Maybe I would just like to note one other thing, just under note 12. So note 12 would be a very good indication of how to gauge the financial strength of the county. So you may notice that some numbers may be different throughout the unaudited statement of financial position on page 96 of your agenda package. So sometimes cash can be higher, sometimes it can be lower. But that being said, sometimes also other assets can be higher and other liabilities can be lower. So comparing year over year, we're relatively in the same kind of range anyways, within a couple percent anyways, so.
Just a question, Brian. For note 5, it says deferred revenue has decreased due to county using funding for...
So through the chair, in 2017, there was kind of a backlog of deferred revenue. So that deferred revenue consists of MSI capital funding, federal gas tax funding. So in 2017, the county did an excellent job of using that deferred revenue. So that deferred revenue is funds that we've received from the government that we have in our possession. And those funds were allocated to capital projects.
Any other questions? Council's wishes. Amber?
I'll move that council accepts the unaudited financial statements as of April 30th, 2018 as information.
And no questions? All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Brian. Request for decision, correspondence items. Letter from Municipal Affairs on Emergency Management Amendment Act. Letter from Municipal Affairs again on MSI, and I believe there was some gas tax, federal gas tax funding in there too. Nice, they tell us 4 times, sounds like we're getting more money than we actually get. Don't tell them I said that. And letter from Transportation on the rail. This is the one you wanted to comment on? Go ahead, Donna.
So they did fix that road or that crossing, and they did it in such a short time after our, it's already done, and we're just getting the letter that they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I thought that, and I don't know if this is what usually is done, but I would really like to, I think thank you goes a long ways. If we can send a letter of thank you.
That's a
And
very good
because I've
idea.
actually gotten lots of phone calls,
You have?
yes.
Okay, so, yeah, make a motion, send a letter, and mention we have had lots of good compliments.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay. And statistics from Drumheller, RCMP. As a side note, last night we reported on the watch clerk. On Sunday, I noticed RCMP cruiser cruising around Rockyford. I haven't seen one there, unless somebody was broken into, but I didn't hear anything. I think he was just happy as could be, waving at everybody, so maybe there is.
Better slow down, Ben.
I see more in Hazard than any other place, by the way. But there's a different, they must come out of Drum, Bizano. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see one last night, but usually I go to Hazard for some reason. Okay. Mhm. Good.
As an aside, I got, and I'll make sure that Alan gets these and passes them out. These were put together by Constable Dennis, and I forget his last, Staff Sergeant, yeah, forget his last name. Anyway, so what he did is he put together an awful lot of work, and this was for the meeting in Airdrie with there was 4 counselors from the MD. And he put these together, and just on a general duty, so they've got a deal that's called the General Duty Constable Bank, so what a constable is required to do. And so he took so administration and file documentation, which is one of the deals. So he tracked 4 of them, but the top 4. But if you take administration and file documentation, the amount of time, so based on a 12-hour shift, 26% of that shift work, which is the constable does on paperwork, is 187 minutes. And if he takes 50% of that, so you're saving 94 minutes for one constable on every watch, and there's 4 constables on every watch. That means you're freeing up 6.25 hours on one 12-hour watch, so that on a 24-hour watch, you're actually gaining 1 constable, and that's just on the one part. So, I mean, he's very keen about it, but if it works out like it does, it should make a huge, huge difference. So, just for you, and I'll make sure that Alan gets that, and you guys can get that out there. So, might be nice to have him to have the staff sergeant come in and give this presentation. It doesn't take very long, and like I said, it really opens your eyes.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thanks for that. We'll just add that in the minutes as correspondence.
Yes.
Okay. Should have been on the agenda, but that's okay. Drumheller Drumheller District Solid Waste Management Association. These audited statements, I think. Any questions? I think that was the last one. Let me scroll down to the end here.
There's one from Community Futures. I'll be attending their AGM in July.
Sorry, can't hear you, Amber.
There's one from Community Futures. I'll be attending their AGM in
Oh,
July.
okay. There was another one. I'm still scrolling. Okay, yeah, Community Futures AGM, 5th of July. You're going to be attending? That's your board? Any other member council want to go to the AGM? This will be Ron's last AGM then? Okay. Been there quite a while. Yeah. Okay, any questions on the? I'll have to congratulate Ron for me. I don't know if I can go. No, accept the motion, accept as information. How's that sound? Who's going to make it? Okay, that was Tom. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All we got is 2 presentations. Is that all we got for today, Brian?
Mr. Chairman, just an update on the appointment at 11:30. MLA Cooper is not feeling well and he will not be able to make it today.
Oh, is that right?
Yep, I just received an email about 20 minutes ago.
Can we get a hold of Derek and see if he can come before 1?
We can certainly try.
Give it a try.
And
I got a sprayer tank at home that's just,
oh,
yeah.
also just a note, just a follow up to item 3.2D, the mutual aid agreement with Vulcan County. I believe Judy had wanted the mutual aid agreement to be signed. Oh,
Okay.
never mind.
If it's ready to go, I'll sign it, yeah.
Okay, I'll bring it over to you now.
So before you leave through the chair, Derek, is he just coming, where the public group isn't coming in, it's just Derek?
I don't have a clue if he's bringing anybody with him. Or
Is Dennis coming in with him? Because if it's just... So why don't we play his game? Because we've got 2 hours, I'm like Glenn, like to sit here for 2 hours, 3 hours and wait to hear what Mr. Philibert has to say isn't my high spot. And we've got 2 councillors missing. Can we phone him and play his, and tell him that because of absence of councillors that we're not...
especially councillor of the area.
we're not in position to discuss the issues at this time and send them our apologies.
I believe that's at the discretion of council if they want to reschedule any appointment.
I think we should have a motion for that, Ben.
I'll move that we reschedule the meeting with Mr. Philibert with regrets because of the absence of the councillor of the area and one other councillor, but mainly because of the councillor of the area not being able to participate in the discussion.
Okay, any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All we have left is my little bit of a camera issue and, okay.
Sorry, I just heard from Tracy at the town. He had sent out an invitation a while ago for this Thursday for a tour of the new
school.
thing. He just needs to know numbers. He's only heard back from one counselor. It's at 4
Yes.
o'clock this Thursday. And I can just let him know how many we're expecting. He just needs to know an approximate number because he needs to make sure there's enough PPE there. Everyone is required to wear their own steel-toed boots, but he'll have the other stuff.
It rains.
Yeah, you have to wear your
Steel
boots.
toe boots.
I've got my, yeah, I can, yeah, we've got a few. Yeah, we've got those little slip-on ones that we can, yeah, we'll find boots for everybody if you want to go. Oh, we have to, okay.
Okay, I don't,
No.
put me down. If I can make it, I'll,
It's at 4 o'clock this coming Thursday, on the 21st. Just a tour of the new motorsport park and the school. Won't be? Okay. You already RSVP'd, did you? No? Okay, so there's 2. Okay,
okay.
just the 3? Perfect. Thank you.
I give my apologies, I don't think I'll make the crisis center either tomorrow. That's tomorrow night, yeah. Got a nice forecast in the thing, I gotta get ready for it. Okay, well, moving camera?
Can we take a break?
Sure can. We'll move in no, let's move in camera now, then we'll take a break. Then Margaret will have that